Welcome to the Career Wanderlust podcast, your compass for new career horizons. Today, we are talking with Melissa Baker. Melissa has over 20 years of business experience working with Fortune 500 companies, CEOs, and creatives in a variety of sales, marketing, and HR related roles. Through the years, Melissa has marketed and sold over 300 products. Now, while working as a marketing manager, Melissa experienced undiagnosed health issues for years. After seeing over 110 specialists, she cleaned up her life inside and out. This resulted in the creation of her niche cleaning business, Lux Conscious Cleaning Services, which focuses on medical conscious cleaning, which is designed for new moms, babies, kids, and those that are medically vulnerable. In addition, Melissa is now collaborating with the Mayo Clinic and Harvard compounding pharmacists to develop her own natural cleaning agents. Absolutely fascinating. I'm excited to learn more. Melissa, thank you for joining us on the Career Wellness podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm fascinated with your story. I want to hear more. I'd love to hear what had to happen essentially to get you where you are today. And was there any advice or belief that helped you along the way?
A lot of things. So it goes back to kind of what you said as you introduced me. 500 like clinical appointments in 5 years and then like 21 ER visits. So you have to realize it's like if you have expert experience like doing things over and over again in anything that you do in a profession, but with my medical like I guess autoimmune, I've had to do that as a patient. So I tell people I'm a
Mhm.
professional patient.
Oh, interesting, though. That's really
Yeah.
I love that you applied that to the patient realm, actually. I think that's brilliant. Go on, tell me more.
Yeah. So really, I had to get really sick to understand like death is life and life is death.
Mhm,
That's kind of where like I guess everything hits my heartstrings when I started my business.
mhm,
But I had to, like you said, clean everything from the inside out. I naturally just started realizing chemicals were bothering me, fragrances bothered me. I had over like 85 pricks on my back from an allergist between the nurse and the doctor. It was about like 70 years of experience. And like, they're like, you're allergic to citric acid, you're allergic to a certain mold. And like, they injected things like 10 millimeter cc's into my arms. I was crippled for days.
oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I really had to get very sick in order to
I'm
understand how
sorry.
to live and get health.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that is really, really hard. What helped you through that? I mean, because that's having an undiagnosed illness, I can only imagine the mental frustration that you carried through all of that. Is there anything that helped you through?
Silver lining and tenacity. I'm naturally very like stubborn in that way. Actually, if you ask my cousin and my grandma who have health conditions too, like I'm like, Grandma, you're 85, you're still kicking. But I would say that like I have a very wonderful family. Like I really do have a wonderful like set of parents and siblings, and my grandmother is a really big support in my life. I lived with them for 13 months when I was really sick.
Mhm.
So
Wonderful.
just to give you, I'm 5'2" and 133 pounds. I got down to 105.
Oh. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So when your best friends look at you with their eyes and see death and you see it, but they won't tell you that, that's a pretty scary place to be in.
Mhm.
So then I started to work with like life coaches. I started to get curious. I started just tenaciously going to doctor's appointments, even though it was frustrating.
Mhm.
I think I made my list the other day. I have, again, 110 specialists, 16 GI specialists, like 4 neurologists, urogynecologists, electrocardiologists, like any type of like, even a geneticist. Like,
Mhm.
I've worked with a lot of different clinical practitioners really advanced in their fields, but maybe only 5 out of those 100 helped me. And then I had to figure it out by myself.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Was there anything the life coach shared with you that helped mentally?
Yes, I would love to give this advice because this guy was my best friend's brother. He uses something called My Odyssey. His name is Josh Janis. Amazing human being. Every week for 3 weeks, we did something called the Life Circle. In that circle, if you look it up on Google, it gives you like 16 or 12 different areas of your life.
Okay.
When I started this at the deepest sickness that I was at like in the 50s. Like nothing in
Mhm.
my life felt good. And I
Mhm.
complained all the time about my health because, of
Mhm.
course, I'm going to.
Right.
3 years by the time I was, like, 2 years into doing this every week on Sunday, I was at, like, a 97% because I had
Oh. Mhm.
made purpose in my life, I've gotten healthier, I focused on the things that were bad in my life every day. Plus, I've worked with a couple different life coaches, like, in different realms because I've been in 16 different industries from my background. But, yeah, I would say that that was the biggest thing for my mentality, like, just
I love it.
mental health.
It's a huge thing. I call it the life book 'cause I took a class along those lines, something along these lines where it has all of the different facets, and you take the deep dive into them, and you take a look at where you're at, how you feel, what your beliefs are in each area, and then you just work on it as far as, like, well, what do you actually let's look at what we believe. Now, what do I wanna believe? Where do I wanna be? What do I wanna be experiencing? And then figuring all those out and then the slowly the little baby steps all around the circle of getting closer and closer and happier and better and what have you. But it's clarity and awareness, right? A lot of times we're not always looking or paying attention to all these different facets. We're just responding to what's coming before us.
So let me apply this to actual business. So, like, we both own businesses, you know. How I tell people is think about like a 90-day review or an annual report.
Mhm.
We don't think to do that to ourselves personally for personal growth. So, this circle of life, I'll just give an example. Like, let's say finance, family, and health were my lowest three of that week. So then the following week, I'm going to spend time on those three. Like, okay, my health was crap. Why? I ate out 5 times last week. The next week, I'll eat out once. Then I feel good about myself because it was a small habit or behavior that I changed. That it's just something that simple, and you
I
have to
really
religiously do it.
Yes, yes, I love this. This is great advice. Thank you.
Mhm.
And so you went through all of these health issues. You're working at the same time, and then you start to figure out, what some of the issues are. So then you come up with your idea, right? The Lux Conscious Cleaning Services. What was that like taking that leap, going from being employed in the corporate world to betting on yourself and moving into this entrepreneurship role?
Oh god. So, I have been an independent contractor and on contracts a lot throughout my whole life. I used to sell as seen on TV products. So, think about like Lori from Shark Tank, like CV is it QVC and HSN.
Yeah.
I did live demonstrations like that. So, I had always been doing this, but I've had corporate jobs like senior account executive, yada yada. I think when I think about my sickness from going from corporate into entrepreneurship completely, and I just kind of betted on myself, it was because I realized after doing some business consulting with people and seeing the communication issues, I didn't like how morals, ethics, and values ran in some of these large corporations I worked at. Won't say names of any companies. Like when I would read their mission statements as I was reading their hierarchy decks, as I was getting interviewed or trained and implemented into their systems, I'm like, this doesn't sit right with me. So the reason I started my own business is because I hated that bubble of like suppression, being
Mhm.
suppressed because of my intelligence, or maybe because I had a better idea, or maybe my feedback that was very bluntly honest, which I would rather have someone be honest with me than lie to me. And same thing that goes for my
Mm.
health challenges. I was always honest with HR about what I had going on, and that was just kind of shunned upon in the corporate setting.
Yeah, that's frustrating. That's
Yeah.
incredibly frustrating.
Yeah.
So when you started working on your own, is there anything that helped you? Because look, it's not easy when you launch something new, right?
It's not.
Um, there's there's so much happening, and there's a lot of mental aspects going on. Is there anything that helped you in those beginning days? Because there might be people listening who are wanting to start their own thing or currently starting their own thing. Is there anything that helped you in those early days?
I 2 things. I'm gonna talk about past tense and future because I love this. Past tense, anyone that's really excelled in their career profession, like a credit lawyer, a bankruptcy lawyer, maybe a really high-end doctor, if you can get 30-minute consults with these people, get all of your questions on paper and ask them before you take these consults that are free because their time is valuable and very expensive, do it. That's what I would highly advise when you're starting a business. You have to be curious, you have to ask these types of questions, and you need to know what you're asking. Don't go into an interview or something without knowing. You have to be prepared. That's the first thing. The second thing, and I love this because I always feel like a little Oprah when I say it, but I always say if and when, and probably more when, I'm successful in what that means to me. If there's a young little prodigy or, someone that wants to be mentored, they're tenacious enough to come find me at a coffee shop on a Tuesday where I go every Tuesday and I frequent at, and they're like, "I want your help." I will give them my help free of charge. And I mean that because they took it upon themselves to do research, do the work, and have literally the strength and the conviction to come speak to me and be like, "Hey, can you help me?" And I will not charge someone for asking me for help.
I absolutely love that. Just holding out a hand to someone else who needs it. I mean, this is what
Yes.
we all need more of in our life. So beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful. So tell me, what about? I mean, because I love to pull stories, from
Mhm.
people. Is there a highly impactful story or event that happened in your life and your work that it's something that you really learned from, and maybe by sharing with others, they might learn something from it either. What happened? What did you learn?
Yeah, I think I can share something as I was a recruiter. I didn't have my medical accommodations in place like they should have been. Because of my ethics, my morals, and my values, I pursued it at the highest capacity so that after everything's said and done, I'll just say this: I won the battle, but I didn't win the war. I still felt very icky about working for this agency and this company, and I left. I had a follow-up call with the SVP of HR that was in New York, New York, and I gave them like my hard feedback. And I said, listen, it's not okay that you treat people this way. It's not okay that you did this to me. I ended up getting all of my things met because you guys failed to do that for me as an employee, even though I asked for them. And then I left because of it. I ended up resigning because I didn't want a target on my back from the senior HR people because
Yeah.
I was advocating for myself like we should all be. And we
Yeah.
should all be advocating for ourselves even as a community or even in departments. And that's why I did business consulting for so long because I see all of these people are afraid. People are so afraid to speak up in their any profession
Yes.
or any department or any job. Yeah. It's working at Chipotle right now. They're probably afraid to tell their manager, "Oh my god, I'm gonna have a baby next week, but I can't tell them I need, like, paternity or maternity leave."
This is very true.
No, it makes me really disheartened and sad because we're all human. We're first human and then, we're everything else.
Yeah. What do you think could help with this? Because you're absolutely correct. And I mean, I don't really have a solution, to be honest with you, except that really at every level we should be curious, compassionate, empathetic, learning how what the person needs and how we can bring it to them. But I mean, I don't have a solution. Do you have anything that you would say that could help with this?
I will use an example. I worked at this wonderful company that is out of business now called
Mhm.
EEI Mobile. I was a producer for them for quite some time. Everyone I worked with was like a family, and I loved that company. And I hope the owner one day eventually sees this or reads this, or even my directors, because
I hope so
I have
too.
chills talking. I loved every single person I worked with.
That's a blessing.
It
Yes.
is. It is
Mhm.
very rare, and
Mhm.
it felt communal. It felt family. Like I felt like if I couldn't make it to a job and get on a plane or fly somewhere because there was a hurricane or my grandma was sick and having open heart surgery, I could tell them that and come to them and something would get figured out.
Yes.
And I think where I maybe can't fix corporate America because there's thousands of people that work for Amazon and Tesla, these bigger companies. But our smaller companies that we're creating and starting to go back to mom and pop shop style is having overage, like having more people employed, maybe looking at something from a different process and system. Like when my business gets bigger, I should say, I would love to have women and men that there's overlap in schedules where it's like almost easier, like on an app, like, hey, I have to drop my shift in 48 hours. Can someone pick it up? There's always that overage so that no one ever feels stressed. But then
Mhm.
also people have to realize they have to share the money, and that's
Mhm.
fine. And that's more communal. I think that
Mhm.
certain things like that work better.
I think that's really interesting. I
Mhm.
mean, is there an app created for something like that?
Hey, that's
So
just my brain always kind of goes
yeah.
in all these different directions because like I said, I've done staffing just like you.
Yeah.
I've done the HR stuff. I've done the background checks. I've hired people. I've had interviews on Zoom, like 20 of them in a day. Like I've interviewed a lot of people and it's always actually this is a great story. It's a little
So
off
tell me.
topic, but I
Oh,
want to
give it
share it.
to me. Yes.
One, I was running an Amazon warehouse as a recruiter. I picked up that this one woman, she was maybe a little bit autistic, maybe she had a mental health disorder, something. I picked it up, but I didn't know what it was. I offered my support to her saying, "Hey, I know that it's intimidating to go meet your supervisor on site the very first day. Let me meet you there tomorrow morning at 6:45 and I'll do the introduction." I went out of my way, not getting paid for this, to go to the warehouse to introduce them formally. She ended up being a supervisor a year later because she was so happy with her job and comfortable because I did something like that for her.
Oh,
I did the handoff.
yes. And sometimes that's all it takes, right? Just that little bit of kindness and that warm introduction to make everything feel a little bit more comfortable and at ease. It allows you to be yourself. It allows you to move into the things and go from there essentially.
And it's
So
something so minor. It was like maybe an hour of my time in my day.
So many things are so minor that can make such a big impact on other people. If we just take the time.
Impact over income.
Yeah.
That's the
Yes,
only thing that I think about all.
right. I do too. So, I mean, we've talked about. I know you've had a lot of health challenges. And maybe that has been your biggest challenge, but maybe it hasn't. I'm curious, what has been one of the bigger challenges that you faced in your career, and how did you overcome it?
It is my health, and actually, I mentioned to you before we started, I had a long call with my best friend. He's a VP of finance and accounting. He's worked for Ernst& and Young. He's very well established in his career, and I asked him what he thought my biggest challenge was in my corporate profession, and he's like, "Your health." He's like, "Talk about your health." So, finding out about my autoimmune, I didn't even share what it is. I have something called mast cell activation syndrome. It's a part of the dysautonomia family. It just
Okay.
means that sometimes organs don't work a certain way. If you are stung by a bee versus me, your reaction might be minor. Mine can just blow up out of proportion because maybe my spleen gets enlarged, maybe I get a rash, but it's uncomfortable to live in my skin some days. And that is environment, food, and any type of beverage, like any type of liquids that go on my body. So the biggest challenge has been that forthcomingness with any job I've ever had, like saying like, "Hey, I'm struggling right now. Hey, I can't take this meeting at 2 because I have to go to this doctor's appointment at 3." And
Yes.
it's just been this teeter totter. And that's probably been my biggest challenge is just navigating that. But the reason I love my business is because my clients, I'm so forthcoming with them on why I started my business. What's beautiful is I've been out of the ER for 2 years.
That's amazing.
I've only had to cancel on 2 clients, like, maybe 24 hours in advance in the last 2 years of running my business, and
Okay.
that's it, because I
That's
run it
amazing.
so well with my schedule and my condition.
And so different things can basically
Yeah.
activate you,
Yes,
and
yes,
you don't always know what it could
correct.
be. Oh, that's very difficult. Yeah. And
Yeah.
but this is why you are looking to create your own cleaning supplies, right? Is this the
Yes.
catalyst for it?
Yeah, so I've been in talks with 2 chemists already, and the goal in the next 2 years is to come out with my own cleaning products. Because in my business, I use products from Australia, Canada, and Europe. They actually keep about 281 different chemicals outside of their products compared to us in America. So, like my business, we don't use bleach, pine salt, fabuloso. I don't like to say this, but I've had some of my clients say to me, like, "Yeah, I don't like my house when I come home, I get a migraine because it smells like a Hispanic grocery store."
Mm.
And it makes me sad when I hear that because even people that work at grocery stores shouldn't even be smelling that type of chemicals.
Right. Right. You're right.
So it's chemical exposure.
Yeah. Oh, that's really fascinating. So that's a little bit of ways though, right? Because you're in the process of making these.
Correct. Because as you're aware, running the business, yeah, it's going to take
Yeah.
a minute.
Well, it's going to take a while. And just out of curiosity, are you going to use the Lux brand name for the cleaning supplies, or will it be a different brand
Yes.
name?
No, it will
Awesome.
be the same. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, tell us more about Lux Conscious Cleaning Services. I mean, like, where can people find you? Who's going to be interested in your service? Tell us a little bit more. Where was your website? Anything like that?
Yeah. So my website is pretty much just www.luxconsciouscleaningservices.com. It's a landing page because we're working on it, but it will be ready by January.
And Lux is Lux.
Yes,
Yeah.
LUX, no E, but it stands for like luxury.
Hmm.
And what we do is right now we're just booking through text, call, or emails. And just because, like I said, I'm a little bit smaller, still growing.
Hmm.
And then what we do from start to finish is we'll do an in-home estimate for free, or we just do the estimate over the phone. I tell people we do estimates like think about like a medical form at a doctor's office. You fill it
Hmm.
out, right? I just do that verbally with you for 15 minutes on the phone so I understand your ecosystem.
Perfect.
So I tell people your house is an ecosystem and you have to look at it medically, not just look at it like, oh, just wipe off my dust and clean my window. Like it's not that simple. It's a little bit more complex. We offer consulting because I am kind of the canary in the coal mine where I can go into a house and kind of identify scent. I can identify mold. I have another woman that does this with me because she has an autoimmune herself. So we have 2 consultants on my team at the moment.
Amazing.
Love it. I also work with health conscious and holistic vendors. I actually have a female pest control specialist in Austin, Texas.
Oh,
She uses more specialty products than the average pest control company with all these chemicals. And she's actually I don't remember the term, but it's like she's a bun specialist. She went to school to study buns. So, and she's a woman. I'm like, female entrepreneurship. Yes.
Well, and products that aren't highly poisonous but still work.
Yes,
Is that what I'm hearing?
effective.
Effective.
Yes, effective. Same thing with I have a carpet shampooer gentleman I work with, a smaller company. He will actually take it upon himself to clean out the full tank and all the products that were used the day before. So if you have a 7-year-old son that has asthma, they will clean out the tanks before shampooing your carpet so there's no cross contamination.
Very cool.
So I also work with vendors like that and I refer them out. Not only if I can't provide it, I'll provide someone else.
Hmm.
And then the last thing I really am excited about, because this is the part about the cleaning products, I started working with home remodelers and I have all these test samples of like brass and polished nickel and soap marble. And I've been finding natural ways to clean all these like bioengineered stones or like bioengineered like products. Like some bathtubs are not full porcelain. You know what I mean? They're
Hmm.
made out of
Yeah.
some different material. So anyone that has remodeled homes, I can also safely clean things without having things tarnish, but
Yes.
naturally. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And this is all in Austin, correct?
Yep.
And
I'm looking to expand though in Milwaukee, Wisconsin by next year. And then Denver, Colorado's on my to do as well, but I'm getting there. So we're kind of,
fantastic.
yeah. Mhm.
You're expanding. That's great. I'm curious from your experience. I was just wondering, have you noticed, is there some place in the home that is being mass ignored by a good majority of people that we should be paying attention to, or should be taken care of a little bit better?
Floors. Floors. Yeah. I laugh
Yes.
about that because Austin's a very dog friendly community
Mhm.
and we wear our shoes in the house and people don't realize I actually even offer to some of my clients, I'll clean their shoes because people don't realize how dirty your shoes are, especially if you just walk in quickly, like in your living room, like 5 times a week, like your floor is disgusting. There's a lot of stuff on your floor.
We should be taking our shoes off. Okay, I'm going to admit we don't take our shoes off, so we need to be taking our shoes off.
Yeah. Well, let's think about all the things you step on outside, fecal matter, and pesticides, grass, red ants, whatever.
Okay, we're going to switch to the no shoes. Okay, thank you for that.
Welcome.
Now, I don't know if you're using AI for anything, but I'd love to ask people just to find out if there's anything creative they're doing with AI that might benefit other people. Is there anything that you're using AI with that might, you could share something with us?
Yeah, so I'm not gonna fully disclose because I'm in the process of working with a software developer on it.
Okay.
Make my own website, like I said, and
Good.
it will be done for spring cleaning 2026.
Perfect.
About all this is all I'm gonna say. Think about when you shop for an apartment online, like let's say you're looking at a high-end condo, high-end apartment, they do those virtual tours.
Mhm.
I'm pretty much in the process of making some tools to do some of my estimates that way.
Oh, interesting.
Mhm.
Oh, that's really interesting. Good idea.
Yeah,
Thank you. Okay, love that. I
yeah.
mean, there's just so many different things, right? I like asking people because I find that I'm using AI for a lot of my work situations and what have you. But then, just a simple comment from somebody else or a share opens up my mind all the different ways that I could be using it. So it's been very interesting. Well, this has been really great. I mean, before you go, I always like to ask this question because I believe that we are bombarded with information coming at us that it doesn't always serve us. So, is there something that you have read, watched, or listened to that really had a positive impact on your life or your career that could benefit other people as well?
Yes, I love sharing this because and this is maybe just the heartstring emotional thing to my health condition. I watched my grandfather pass away with COPD. His
Mhm.
mind was sharp, but his body dwindled. And I just remember the last thing I bought him was a newspaper. And he always said to me, he's like, just read, just read, just read. So I remember when I was sick in my bed for 9 months, like I read 81 books that year that I was sick. And now in the last 5 years, I've read over 450.
That's fantastic.
So, the
I'm
3
right there
books
with
I
you.
will share for entrepreneurs that they need to read,
Okay.
Atomic Habits by James Clear,
Yes.
amazing.
What did you
Um,
like from Atomic Habits? Give us like one little thing.
just like here's a great example, like your family.
Mhm.
If you have bad habits with them about like maybe your spats or your arguments, your deepest embedded habits come from the beginning of childhood and they're mounds. You don't want to just keep building on top of the mound or bury it. You want to actually kind of start chopping away at it. And that was really impactful from a mental health perspective for me.
That is very impactful, actually. It's a different way of looking at habits that people probably aren't thinking about as well. So that's really interesting. Okay, what are your other two?
The Fire Starter Session by Daniela Laporte.
I actually have not heard of that one. Tell me a little something about that.
A gentleman that I was really inspired by told me to read it, and I just really deep dived into it. It's just kind of like giving you feedback, like her personal experience in the corporate world. But the one chapter in the 3 pages I found the most fascinating. If you and me were personal trainers, every coach needs a coach. Well,
Mhm.
there's this page where it gives you a list of all the people that you need in your community to help support you. And it literally asks you to write the names down of who they are.
Ooh. Ooh, I like that a lot.
Yeah,
Because
it's
we
amazing.
do. It's different people for different things that we need, and
Mhm.
that's another thing that we're not always paying attention to, right? So that's I love that, to write it down, A, to know where there might be holes, but also to see the gratitude and appreciation for those people who are filling the holes.
Mhm.
So I love that. Okay, what's your third one?
The last one, I don't remember the author's name, but it's called The Expert Secrets.
Okay.
So this one is so good. My friend that owns a multi-million dollar Airbnb business and that he does podcasts and is like actually coaching himself.
Mhm,
He told me to read this 6 years ago. He's
mhm.
such a amazing human. But it tells you how you go from an employee to an independent contractor to a business owner to an expert. And it breaks that down for you
Interesting.
as you go through your career. So, man and woman alike, college student, highly recommend that book.
Love. Okay, I love. Thank you. I mean, I have the Atomic Habits, love that book. I think it's great. The other
Mhm.
two I have not heard of, and I always love getting new recommendations.
Yeah, those are really good books. Yeah.
Melissa, this has been wonderful. I'm going to throw out my last question to you. What are you sure of in life?
I always laugh when I say this, but my conviction.
Mm. Tell me more about that.
So, after I got sick, my purpose and my passion became my pursuit in my life. So, you know what? I went to church on Easter Sunday the year after I got sick with my best friend, and I just remember listening to the story of resurrection. Doesn't need to be religious, doesn't need to be spiritual. It's the story of resurrection. And I was like, oh my God, the last part of me that was 132 pounds had to die to become 105 to become back 132. And I was resurrected. I have goosebumps when I talk
Oh,
about this.
no, I feel like
And I had to be resurrected into a better human being. So if someone was to ask me, do I think I'm a good person? I would say yes, because I do everything in my power every day to help people.
oh, that is so beautiful.
Thank you.
I love that. Melissa, thank you. And I just want to say really quick before we go, I want to commend you for I've noticed how you pay attention to the words that you say and
Hmm.
that you will switch it up. Not an if, but when, and
Hmm.
and I've noticed you do that. And that's something that's really important for us all to do and to be aware of. How we're speaking and what we're saying is something that I've been working on myself and have to catch myself. So I really appreciated that. Thank you for being an example of it.
Well, then I'll share this with you because I feel like this is like
Yes.
a good ending. But my ex-boyfriend's aunt, very spiritual, does like the tuning forks and all of the sound bath things and really believes in frequency. She gave me a whole book that I read about frequency. So, negative, positive, good, evil. Words hold frequency just like how water holds ripples. So, the reason I catch myself when I speak sometimes and I'm very like intentional or maybe present with it is what you think is what you say, and that is a vibration. So, if you have a negative vibration, it literally can pull you down. And that's why people can't get up and out of the holes that they're in.
I believe this 100%. Such an important reminder for us all to hear.
Mm.
Thank you, Melissa. This has been
Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you for joining us on the Career Wanderlust podcast.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on the Career Wanderlust podcast. If you find value in learning from others, give us a like and subscribe. If you're looking to grow your communications, marketing, public relations, or sales and biz dev team with the best talent and quickly, check us out at paradigmstaffing.com and submit a request. We are wishing you a most successful and fulfilling career. Until next time.